It's me, Capri. My mommy is the best. Super mom will be next. She helps mommy get their smiles back. To get those back. Others might go back. You wait for the show. Watch. Get ready for that super discovery. That super squad.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Healing for the Soul podcast. It is your go-to resource for parents and want-to-be parents who strive for success without sacrificing connection and well-being. Each episode delivers actionable strategies and inspiring insights to help you build emotional intelligence and resilience for yourself and for your family. Strengthen relationships with yourself, your partner, and your children. Master parenting as an entrepreneur, even while raising young children. Discover life and parenting hacks that simplify your journey. Explore hypnosis and other healing modalities for a deeper transformation. This podcast isn't just about parenting and a fertility journey. It's about creating harmony, wealth, and alignment in every area of life. Let's get started. Season 6. I am your host, Supermom Robin Stoltman. Today's episode is sponsored by Nancy Hart, and her story is amazing. Now, Nancy's recipe for happiness is to share ideas and deep thoughts and avoid wasting time in a superficial conversations and gossip. She traveled 6 out of 7 continents, having grown up in Manhattan in South Florida. She is a xenophile, preferring exposure to various cultures of the world over sand and sun. She graduated University of Miami with a BA in psychology, studied art appreciation in Europe, attended a Fashion Institute of Technology, studied Kabbalah and Buddhism, and traveled the parameters of the United States. Please welcome Nancy Hart.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet everybody. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, Nancy, for being here with our audience. My childhood, I am very thankful, though, that my mom, she's did some things that were good, because like I understand my mom's history a little bit from what she's told me. And it's like, I'm very thankful, though, that she did introduce me to Jesus at a young age. And like, I went to Sunday school. Like, I'm very thankful for that. But it's the husband that she had married and stuff like that. Some of the other things that I went through that created a lot of the problems. But it's like, then I started looking at it. It was actually through another podcast guest that I started looking, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I let certain things happen. Because that's exactly what I saw in that time frame when I was a little girl. And I'm like, oh, it made sense. And I was like, this is so much more powerful now. So it's like, I learned the only 2 things why you divorce is like, this is one of the things is if you're getting cheated on or if a kid gets hit.
The rest what's the second?
Or the second one is if a child's getting hurt.
Oh, if the child is getting hurt.
Yeah, physically. Like if you're getting physically hit. But anything after that, it was okay to stay with the person. So that's where I got sexually abused. That was okay to stay with the person for that. But it's so weird because it's like my kids are not subject to any of that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that that's where I learned that you can put up with certain things. Like, and I'm just like, it's very powerful in that because I just recently had discovered that about myself. And I was like, oh, so that's why I've got this or that certain things that because I've done the work, I know this. And so it's like, when you think about it, it's so powerful in that. And it's leading you back to like that authentic self, like who you really are. So you're not having to question all these different things. Like what you said about like for your mother, and like both of us, like you knew that look, like you knew like the different things. Like me, I'll never know what it's like. And I've told my husband this before. I'm like, I'll never know what it's like to have a dad that didn't want to hurt me. Like I'll never know that feeling.
Yeah.
But I get it through my daughter. I've only got one daughter. But I mean, like still, it's like through her, that's the only time that I'll ever see what it would have been like. So it's like it's healing me at the same time because it's not me. But it's like I'm getting to see that through her. I don't know. I think you probably know what I'm talking about. Like what you said of like when you got to be a mom. You got
hmm
to do that healing
Yeah,
as a
I got
child.
to do that healing. Yeah. And then also what I noticed is that when you come from, this is dysfunctional. I hate that word, but I got to
We put the
embrace it
dis in the.
because that's what it is. That's what it is. I
It
mean,
is.
I don't like the dis.
So
It's
I'm like, I make fun of it by
dysfunctional.
saying we put the dis in the dysfunctional. But that's why I said,
It's
like to my mom's credit, like that helps to know her history when she told me a little bit about why she
yeah,
does what she
yeah,
does. That's
yeah,
all it does is make it a little bit like,
yeah,
oh,
exactly.
we
I go with
repeated it.
yes, yes, exactly. And then, when you have these things when you grow up, like when my mother yelled all the time. I mean, she didn't
Yeah,
know how to, not with me anyway. She didn't know how to talk.
yeah.
So, um, it was really rough. And then when I had friends, my mother had Asperger, which she wasn't diagnosed until she was 80. Well,
Okay.
when I had friends, my best friends, I started looking, I go, oh my goodness, so and so does the same thing. She's got Asperger's. Um, she has all my friends, my closest friends had Asperger's. Why? Because it bred familiarity. I was like, oh, that's what that equals love.
Mm.
Mm, that's why it's so, I find it's important to have diagnosis.
Yeah,
Yeah. And when
it,
my
it
mother
it
was
is.
diagnosed at 80 with Asperger, that's when my life changed. I got to really realize, wow, I don't want these kinds of people. They're perpetuating all the pain that I would love to not have in my life anymore. So now when I feel somebody has Asperger's, uh, it's a very interesting thing, and there's more people that have it than it's actually known. And even most doctors, because it wasn't taught. I went to school to learn psychology just so I could figure out what
Mm.
was wrong with my mother, and they were not teaching Asperger's at the time. So um, a lot of psychologists still. For example, I had a friend and she was telling me all these things about her daughter. Her daughter, 27, and when she was telling me all these different things. So what did they diagnose her with? Well, she said every time she goes to a new doctor, they diagnose her with something else. We've got a list this long. And I go, well, everything you're telling me, why don't you look into, since you've been have add
Mm.
Asperger's maybe to the top of that list and see if you go to an Asperger specialist, because all those qualities equal that. Like you can't read facial expressions. They can't tell if you're angry and it'll frustrate them and they blow up. It's almost like narcissists, to the fact that every all the attention has to be theirs. Now it's not everything. There's like 11 major points, but if they have 3 out of those points, they are Asperger. Well, my mother had every single one. Every single one.
Wow.
Yeah, every single one. Very intelligent, but like that expression, God would be lucky if he
Yeah.
asked for my opinion, like those kinds of things. I'm better than everybody else. It's very interesting, the Asperger thing. But once it was diagnosed, I realized that that familiarity, I thought that was love. And let me tell you, now that I have only people that are caring and good and pretty much, you know, not looking for, some ulterior thing, that life is much better. It really is. It really is. There are some nice people out there. Y'all, there's some people that are nice out there.
Yeah. Yeah. There is. There definitely is. You got to find them. That's like me. I'm just like I keep looking for the ones that are good, that
That's
want to do more, and that's been the challenge. That's why
yeah.
I'm like that's where I get frustrated because it's like I just want people to do better. like myself, I'm constantly working on myself because I'm like, you know more, you grow more, you can do more. Like the world you get to play with so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
the part that I'm really enjoying. And so I'm like, I completely like I've been enjoying our conversation this like the whole time. Like, yeah, this was a first, but that's okay though. Um, so where can people find your books? So I'm very like now I'm very like interested in your books because I'm assuming like all the history, like the things that you've gone through would be in your books.
Right, right. And yeah, my books I also talk about what it's like for an empath as a child to be growing up in New York City. It's a lot being out on the street when you're like 3 years old, not allowed to come home until it's dark. So my books are Whispers, Sinners, and Saints. And the second book is Whispers, Shadows, and Saints. And they're on Amazon. That keeps it easy. You can find them on my website, nancyhart.com. I think that's the easiest way to do it. And I'm Nancy Hart author. I need friends. and author Nancy Hart. And so YouTube, I need friends.
Same here. Same. It's
Right? Yeah.
it's I moved out of Minnesota and it's because I was there 30 years, born and raised, and it's just like
Oh,
I come here to Watertown, South Dakota, and I'm like, I got 9 years, almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years next year, and like no friends. It sucks.
oh, it's hard.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
that's
I
hard.
got my
Yeah.
husband, but I mean, like, still,
It's
it's
hard.
my
Well, but
husband.
so take that as like I've always been kind of a loner. There
Hmm.
comes waves where there's a lot of people, but then when I used to own a nightclub down in South Beach, and well, let me tell you, I had a lot of friends then. None of them were worth a nickel, okay? Because when something happened,
They're
there was
nowhere to be found.
nobody, yeah, fair weather friends. So I don't mind being alone. I find I'm the best company because I can entertain myself. But I do have friends here. Now I moved from South Florida. I lived down there
Okay.
for 45 years. And after having been divorced and having the kids, you missed a pocket of time where you had your friends that you made through the children, but then once you got a divorce, I couldn't stay in that area anymore because I had to get away from the ex. Um, then it became impossible. But so since you have these kids, that's how you meet your friends. Now that I'm a senior citizen, I meet friends that are senior citizens. I mean, it's funny. I hate the word. I say I'm going to South Carolina. I don't say I'm going to SC, South Carolina. I can't say I'm a senior. I'm a South Carolinian, even though I I just can't. My brain can't grasp it yet. But it means
That's
it's a
okay.
time
I
of
can't.
introspection and something else is meant. Like for me, I go, you know what? I'm supposed to be putting out these books right now. For you, it's time maybe to be doing these podcasts and meeting people. And like, I love doing these podcasts. Like, this is
I do
great.
too.
Yeah, this is great. It's reaching across the pond. You're not that far away, are you? I'm in Colorado. You're in Idaho,
Oh, no, South Dakota.
South Dakota.
That's where I'm at now. But
Oh,
no, Colorado. I was there during the George Floyd. That was horrible trying to explain it to my kids. Um, that was. I won't be going back. But outside of that,
did
yeah,
George Floyd happen over here in Colorado? I don't
it
even know.
happened in Minnesota.
Oh, it happened in Minnesota. Okay,
Yeah,
because you got me
yeah,
all
yeah,
confused. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. All
yeah.
right. Yeah. But you know what? Good for you that you saw it. And that's what I used to do with my kids. If something happened, I'd say this is the time for a learning experience. Now, I got that idea because my mother used to take me out, as I write about that in my second book,
Yeah.
is Times Square. We're talking
Mm.
1970s. So we have, triple X marquees and pimps and prostitutes and all kinds of things. Like my second book, I write, for me to go to school is twilight, and I have to walk where the straggling prostitutes and pimps and heroin addicts are on the street. And when I showed up at the city bus corner on, I think, 49th and Broadway, the prostitutes would, it was like changing of the guards. I would be standing there with the stragglers, but as the sun came up more, they would leave. And here I am, a young kid with a big heavy book bag and all these books, and guys pulling their windows down. I'm talking sixth grade, and saying to me, "How much?" And I'd say, well, I forgot how much it was. I had to do 25 cents. And they'd say, "What do I get for 25 cents?" I said, "A bus ride." What are you talking about? Like, I didn't know what they're talking about. So one guy, smart ass, he holds up a transfer. He goes, "What do I get with this?" And I go, "A bus ride." I didn't, and you'd have the pimps coming up to me in my face telling me I'm too ugly to be on their corner. I'm like, I'm just trying to get to school. this was this was such a different life than most people
Oh
I
yeah.
know. you
Well,
know.
no, that's okay though, cause yeah, like I did that with my kids too though. That George Floyd thing, like when that had happened, I was just trying to explain to them that there's just people that are trying to make it into a race thing, and it's really not. Like I
Right.
was explaining to my kids are all, my oldest is 10, so my youngest is right to here, 2 months. But I mean, like when we went to Colorado, that was right before, that was in 2020, right as things were shutting down. This is like 5 years ago, so I didn't have some of the kids I got now, obviously. But I'm like when we went through, when we were there for that little bit, and we experienced that, like I was just explaining to my kids that they're just angry people. Instead of just wanting to talk, they just want to hurt other people. And it's like, so I use that like as a teach. I'm always teaching my kids through like the hard things in life. That's why I'm like, I'm pretty sure my kids will be giving other people jobs. Just because my kids don't have the tablets, they don't got the phones, they don't got that stuff. And when they've asked, I'm like, nope, last time I checked, I love you. Last time I checked, I don't want you to see the stuff that's online. And then they see some of the stuff that I see online and they're like, what's this or that? And I'm like, oh, just people being dumb. Like just trying to, like trying to teach them stuff. And like the TikTok has been like to me, I want to educate people. I want to bring them, like I said, my thing is I want people to have their power back. Like that's really
Mm-hmm.
what I really want for people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like that success part for them.
Mm-hmm.
But like some of the stuff that I've seen on TikTok, I'm like
Mm-hmm.
nobody really cares. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's like like you said earlier, it's like a dumbing up thing. Like nobody really cares.
It's propaganda.
I- It's
It's manipulation, and you always have to say follow the money line.
yeah.
Who's benefiting from this? It's like the Wizard of Oz movie, and you've got the Oz back there
Oh yeah.
doing the whole thing. That's what it is, right? So I think too, with my kids, I ask them questions as this is what I see. What do you see? And then this way I could like gear them into what I thought in case I mean, honestly, you send them off to school. I
Yep.
remember now sending them off to school only to unlearn what for example, unlearn what they did or what they learned from their peers. A bad habit, for example, would be like this. Like. You ask them a question. Well, like. And you're like, okay, we must use words other than that one word because I have no idea what you're saying. It's just something like as simple as that.
Yeah.
But then you put the pieces back together again and you sent them off to school only to know you're going to have to take them home and rearrange everything again and then push them back to go to school again. That's what it is. That's what it
Yeah.
is. That's what it is. But I think what's lovely and what sticks out most with me with what you said is that you have the most joyous time with your kids and the energy that, they pick up on the energy. So I think that it's it's beautiful because they will that how healthy they have got to be, 8 of them together,
Oh yeah.
right?
That yeah. That's the part
Uh,
that is exciting. That's why I'm like, I wish that more people would see children as a good thing, because society does not typically,
yeah,
like society as a whole.
yeah.
And there's less people
This,
having children for that reason. And it's like, you guys gotta understand, who's gonna wipe your ass at the end when you're old? I'm
yeah.
not sorry. I worked as a nurse aide. Somebody's
Mhm.
gonna have to wipe me when I get old.
I'm getting a robot. I don't want anybody doing that. I want a robot.
I'm just saying, like,
I
you get
know
like
it.
what I'm saying, but it's like these people are not thinking
Yeah.
about that at all.
No,
And it's
but
like,
my mother, she told me that
yeah,
I said, I did somehow it came up to discussion, or she started down. She goes, the
yeah.
only reason I had you is so that when I get old, you can wipe my ass. And I remember being
I got one of the 8 to do that when I get old.
5. I was 5, and she says, I can hardly wait for you to get out of the house. And here I am, 5 years old, going, oh God, that's a long way to go. It seemed like an eternity. I got out when I was 17. I didn't want to. Yeah. So I'm gonna get a robot. That'll be good for me. I
Well,
think that I made a mistake. I didn't have my kids do anything for me when they were growing up, and that was my biggest. I would say that was my biggest mistake, and that came from uh, I had a hard time asking for anything, so that came because I was not allowed to ask for anything from my mother. And
that makes
so when
sense.
I had the children, I did not realize that that would be, I couldn't. I mean, I knew it came in my mind, and I'd
Mhm.
want to say, somebody take out the garbage, and I couldn't say, take out the garbage. I couldn't do it. So it is important because now in my later years, they don't call, um, they don't text. I have one daughter that she's just so busy, like they're so busy, and I get it, but I think I think just me not having to call and just them calling me, it would feel nice. I talk to my son maybe once in 2 years. You know, it's not good. It's not good.
No,
But that I think is
no.
stems from me never saying, I would like you to take the garbage out. I mean, and that sort of
I
thing.
have I have my kids help me all the time.
Yeah.
Like mine,
Yeah.
he's 19, no, he's 20 months now. 20 months as of today,
Yeah.
and he already helps with the dishes. Like
Yeah.
obviously there's certain things he can't do.
Right. But
Like
that's
that's
really good.
obvious. But he's
That's really
already
good.
helping me with that. He is helping sweep even though he's
Yeah.
he can't do it quite like the 3-year-old can. But it's like I have all my kids help me all the time
Yeah.
because I'm like, I really need you. I'm like,
Right.
I can't do this without you. So I guess that's when people ask me like, how do you do everything? I should say, I don't. I have my kids help me. Like
Yes.
they're
Yes.
programmed now that they know that they have, and it is programming because like we're all programmed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm programming them now into I need your help because I really
Mm-hmm.
do. Like I can't do this without them, and they know that because like, well, at least I let them think that, like I could, but I mean, like, it's so much easier just to let them think because everybody wants to be seen, heard, and valued. Every last person. They
Absolutely. They want
really,
to be
truly want
seen.
that.
Yeah. They want to be appreciated is the word. Appreciated.
Yes. And that's
Everybody
how you
has
do
that
it.
need. Yes. Yes. And if they're appreciated at home for doing the right things, and they won't seek the bad peers, right? And
Yes.
even if they do veer off, it won't be comfortable. They'll go over there and they'll say, oh, that's not good. I don't like that. Because, you might stray a little bit here and there, but they'll go back because, oh, this feels comfortable. This is home. We have a nice home. Yeah, which is so much more than money, which is so much more than, you're teaching them to be not selfless, which is wonderful, not to be greedy. So to have less of those obscurations that get in the way, that's really good. Yeah. Yeah, and concentrate on bettering themselves. Yeah. So, you're talking about like people today in our society. When I went to Alaska, they had an it's not Indian, Eskimo reservation, but Eskimos I didn't realize were Indians, right? I did not know that until I went there. Yes, I
Interesting.
know. Yeah, isn't that interesting? So I went to
Yeah.
their reservation there, and what I came away from learning from them is that they don't have a problem with when it comes to asking a question of what is the best thing to do, because each one person equals 20, they say, because they look, and this very much correlates with Buddhism, is that you are not alone. You have your mother, you have your father, you have sisters, you have your grandparents, grandmother, grandfather,
Yeah.
that may or may not have been alive when you may not have ever met them. And so they take that is when you ask them, what would you do? They actually mentally connect and say, well, what would my mother say? What would my father say? What would my grandmother say? My grandfather? Go back
Yeah.
20 people. And so in Buddhism, they do the same thing. They say, go and have, they call it emptiness, and empty out. You're not there. And this is who you ask. Ask your friends,
Mm.
ask your enemies. Enemies are where? Over here. And your enemies are in the front, actually. You always keep your enemies in front of you so you could keep your eye on them, which I think is good. Your friends, your family, and then all those that you don't know around you. So it makes, if you start thinking about like when you're in trouble and you can't figure out things, and you think, oh, it's not just me, but I can refer to all these people and start getting a different perspective. I think and I found that enlightening.
Yeah, it very much is, because that's extremely helpful when you think about it. Like, then you're hearing more than one, and like, um, that phrase, "keep your enemies closer."
Like keep your eyeball right there. Right.
Yeah, because they're just waiting for you to fall.
Mm,
That's really what they're doing. But then at the same time, I almost wonder like if they're just like secretly like for the enemies, like they're not just like waiting for you to fall. They're watching and they're studying the whole time, like what Satan does. Like he
mm,
studies
mm,
like what a person's doing. He studies the
mm,
one person. But
mm.
I've really enjoyed our talk today. What's the easiest way for our audience to get in contact with you? Just one more time.
Oh,
Because
absolutely. Thank you so
sorry.
much. Please go to website Nancy Hart, HEART, nancyhart.com. And I've got trailers, I've got all different goodies on there. You can buy my book from there. It's easy. Get to know me. Click in and become my friend on Facebook and Instagram, Nancy Hart Author. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was wonderful. Excellent.
As always, I just want to thank you for your time and energy while listening to today's episode of Healing for the Soul podcast. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Healing for the Soul podcast wherever you get your downloads, you're listening to your podcasts, and keep coming back for more episodes. Thank you, everyone, for your time and your energy while listening to today's episode of Healing for the Soul podcast, which also can be found on YouTube.